you. Welcome. Oh, this is on. Hello. I don't think this is on, huh? You guys hear me?
No, not too well.
No, she's checking the mic. Well, I don't really need it. Welcome, lovers of Lori, to this gathering where we're here to celebrate my mom's life. My name is Bob Kundrat. I was her son. I am her son. And we just wanted to celebrate my mom, and as you can see, she had a lot of people that were important to her in her life, and I think we're going to open it up for a prayer from Father Scott, and then we're going to have some remembrances to celebrate and honor and laugh and enjoy the beautiful life she had, and then we'll open it up to anybody else to come up and share stories as well. So Father, if you want to come up.
Thank you, Bob, and just to all gathered here, just a real sign of, Lori's capacity for relationship. Okay, sure.
Used to that.
No problem. Yep, we're used to microphones. I can just do that, and and then we'll pass this along to whoever speaks next. No problem. But again, just, so my name is Father Scott, just the rector down at St. Mary's Cathedral, and just a real honor to be with you to pray, just to be a sign of God's closeness during obviously a very difficult time. But certainly to you, Frank, for the whole community, just we love you. We surround you with our support and prayer, to the kids especially. I just really, I mentioned to Lisa before, just her write-up, her summation of Mom's life was just such a marvelous, marvelous work of art. I mean, really, I just, the whole thing to, of course, no words summarize the love someone has, but really a beautiful tribute to Mom. And so we're just going to ask the Lord Jesus to be close to us, God to draw near, the Holy Spirit to give us strength. I'm just going to begin in the name of the Father, Son, and Holy Spirit. My brothers and sisters, we believe that all ties of friendship and affection which knit us as one throughout our lives do not unravel in death. And so confident that God always remembers the good we have done, we pray in a special way for our dear Lori and for all of us gathered here as we come to thank God for the giftedness of her life, the generosity of her life. And so let us pray. O God, glory of believers and life of the just, by the death and resurrection of your Son, Jesus, we are redeemed. And so we ask that you would send your loving mercy upon your servant Lori and make her an heir of the joys of paradise, for she believed in you and served her people well. We ask all of these prayers through Christ our Lord. Amen. With that, Bob, if you'd like to come back forward.
Amen. So we wanted to share some remembrances of my mom, and my family wanted to start off first. And, oh, no worries. Yeah, so we have to use this. So, Lisa, did you want to start? Or Dad, did you want to start?
Sure.
My father's going to come up and...
Thank you. Thanks, Bob.
Sure. Donnie?
Okay. Okay. Oh, okay. Thank you. Good afternoon, everyone. As you well know, I'm Frank. Known to some of you as Judge, some of you as Frank, and to Lori as her second in command. And you know, it's And we just, on behalf of my family, Christy, Brian, Bob, Lisa, and Sahar, and Dahlia, who are watching, I think, today from California as we speak, and Christy and Brian's daughter, Sky, and nephew Matthew Warman. Where are you, Matthew? There he is. We all want to thank you for your love, your support, your prayers, your acts of kindness, joining us here today and on the internet around the world. Literally, we have relatives around the world that are hopefully tuned in today to watch and share with us. You know, how do you sum up a wonderful life with your life partner of 50 years? We met in 1971. That's a little while ago, wasn't it? We were both in college. I was, 20? She just turned 21, I think. And we met at the college cafeteria, so to speak. I was friendly with her roommate, Joy Shainfeld. Hi, Joy. I think you're out there. And we were taking a class together. I was history or something. And so we got chummy a little bit because Joy's a real outgoing person, friendly, and we just hit it off. And then at the dining hall, I was there, and Joy walked in with this beautiful young woman, you know, and I just kind of stood there, who's that? You know? And so later when I saw Joy at class, I said, gee, Joy, who's that girl that was with you? Oh, that's my roommate, Lori. I said, oh, you think you could introduce me to her? You know, you know me from class. I'm not that bad of a guy. So she said, yeah, I think I could. So we saw each other at a football game, and she brought me, yelled me to come over, and I joined them, and as they say, the rest is history. We dated through college, and in law school, we kind of did our own thing too, because I was so busy. Law has a jealous mistress, you know. And but we were married in 1977. She moved out to Colorado. She got fed up with me and moved out. And then when I realized what I had lost, I went out there and begged her to come back, and she did. So for my great benefit. And we were married in 77. Of course, we had 3 wonderful children and their spouses and children now. I should also mention that Lori gave me this gold watch for my golden birthday, 23. So I knew she was serious at that time. She must probably hit her father up for a loan to buy it. And you know, her dad, Lloyd. And so over the years, this is an old-fashioned wind-up watch. You know, you have to wind it every day to keep it going. And for years, I had the watchmaker, Dominic in St. Cloud, keep it going. But this watch used to wind it up. It used to start and stop and run fast, run slow, not where it runs sometimes. And I said to Lori, you know, this is just like our marriage. It runs fast, it runs slow, doesn't run on time all the time, and it's balky, and you got to wind it up every day. But you know, in the end, it's still ticking.
Very good.
So I'm wearing that today in her memory, and I always told her that. That was why I wore it, because it was a symbol about our marriage continuing and still ticking. So we're here not really to mourn, but to celebrate the remarkable life of a beautiful woman, our Lori. And she, of course, had a remarkable life, as you can see from the mementos, pictures flashing here, and all the places she went in the world for her job with microbiologics. I don't know if a lot of you knew she was a representative of the company all over the world. And she was in various countries like China 2 or 3 times. She was on the, once she called me or called her, where are you at? I'm in Korea. What are you doing there? I'm on the DMZ, the militarized zone. I'm looking at North Korea. I said, well, don't defect. So yeah, she had a chance to move, to go with the company. She loved that job, and as you well imagine, she's a great scientist, microbiologist, and so she would go around the world explaining their products to the distributors and supporting them, and if there were problems out there, they would call and say, Laura, you got a problem in China, can you go out and fix it? And that's usually what it was, because people would say, why don't you go with her? Well, they call her up, they wanted her to go tomorrow or next week. What am I supposed to do, drop my jury trial next week? you know? So I had a job too, unfortunately. So, or fortunately, as the case may be. But we tried to travel as much as we could. In fact, when I got the call about her collapsing, she was out skiing with two close friends, Dawn and Julie. So she was doing what she loved at the very end. She was cross-country skiing in the Quarry Park, and she was a Quarry Park guard, basically. She a patrol. She was very committed to that park. She did a lot of things for them, naturalism, and she would also try to keep people off the ski trails, and the walkers off the ski trails. In fact, I think Dawn and Julie told me just before she collapsed that she was telling some nice woman, gee, you know, you really should be walking on this path. You should be walking over here because this is for the skiers, you know. And then Julian said, I'd be real mad at her, but Lori did it so nicely. That was the thing about her. She was so nice to everybody. Had a beautiful smile, smiling in every picture. But she had an Irish temper, believe it or not. Unfortunately, I was usually the recipient. Well-deserved, too. But she stuck up for her family. She loved her family fiercely, her granddaughters. She spent the last years supporting Christy and taking care of our granddaughter Sky a few times a week. And she just loved being a grandma, and I think you all know that. So she gave of herself to everyone. Didn't want anything for herself. She's very unassuming, sweet person, and I was just very lucky to be with her for so long. And we obviously, it's a real hurt, stab in the heart to lose her, but I really appreciate all of the love and support you're giving. It really means a lot. You know, you tell people, oh, you know, should I go to the wake or should I go write a note? Do it. Write a note. Be there for your friends, because it does mean a lot. It really does. And it's really helping us, buoy us up through this difficult time. And I just want to also thank my children for putting together this beautiful display. They worked really hard on the pictures, and Lisa did a wonderful job of writing, and Christy arranging, and Brian the babysitting, little baby at home and helping out with various, and Matthew too, helping with the pictures and things. So I just wanted to thank you all as well. And Father, I really want to thank you for your comfort and support. Father dropped everything in Minneapolis when he got the call from me, can you come and bless Lori? And he came right up. And it kind of reminded me, I hate this, it's kind of a bad analogy, but there's this movie, Pulp Fiction, where some guy is supposed to fix something. And they said, how far away are you? He said, well, I'm about 20 minutes away. I said, I'll be there in 15. Well, that was Father. You know, he said, I'll be there. So within an hour, he was there. I don't know how fast he was going, but I think he was counting on me to bail him out if he got caught. So, but I really wanted to thank you so much, Father, for your comfort and your anointment of Lori at her last time. And that really gave a great deal of comfort to my family and I know that helped speed her on to the heavenly gates, I'm sure. So again, we're not here to mourn, but to celebrate the remarkable life of our beautiful Lori. And so, again, I want to thank you all for being here, for tuning in around the world and on the internet, and to all of you. And Bob is going to take it from here. Thank you very much. Oh, yeah, sure.
Since my mom died on Monday, I have felt her presence many times and believe she is still with us in spirit, lifting us up, looking after us, and walking beside us. It's like her love bursts out and surrounds us through the relationships she created and the care she gave us every day in so many ways. On Thursday night, we were all on our own laptops, feeling stressed and upset, looking at photos of Mom to share. But then we started pulling out all the photo albums, dozens that Mom had carefully curated over the years. And the feeling in the room changed. We were all connected around the books she created and put together with such love. We could feel Mom with us, and then we heated up some lasagna leftovers that Mom had made and put in the fridge as if she knew we would be hungry. It was so fun to be with Mom because she was so present. Her joy was in being together, and her gentle, playful, and caring presence invited you to do the same. For her 60th birthday and my 30th birthday, we decided to go on an adventure to Seattle on the Olympic Peninsula. When we were kayaking in the San Juan Islands in a double kayak, an otter started following us. We were completely present as we laughed and enjoyed waiting to see which side of the kayak he would pop up next. On the same trip, we pulled over to go for a hike in Olympic National Park. Out in the mossy old-growth forest with no one else around, we came upon a stream where salmon were jumping upstream. I mean, we'd heard of this, but there it was, right in front of us. When I was with Mom, we could be in wonder together in nature. All these moments of simple but extraordinary beauty, enjoyed together, expanded and surrounded us and still hold us now. I'm starting a new life without my mom. I have to learn to live in the world without her. She has prepared me for this. What would Mom do? I already found myself asking this every day this week. She's guiding me and looking after me. Let's all ask ourselves, what would Lori do? She would go on a walk. She would never drive without an emergency Diet Coke for potential drowsiness. She would always keep hot food hot and cold foods cold, which was the food safety microbiologist in her. She would prioritize dessert. She would have relevant and poignant advice or encouragement for all occasions, mixed with a yes to adventure attitude, a gentleness toward animals and the planet, and a model for how to be a caring friend. On Thursday, I went to Quarry Park, which was a place she loved and is where she died. I went with her there so many times over the years, hiking and skiing. I felt her presence there, and I didn't want to leave the parking lot after I skied. I sat and listened to music and wrote her a note. I will read you the note now. Dear Mom, I skied your ski patrol shift today with MC. I missed you and wish you were here with us. I wore your mittens. I had the hand warmers you gave me for Christmas. I found some toe warmers sitting out on the table. I think you left them out for me. I wasn't cold. It actually wasn't bad at all. It was 1 degree out, which would scare a lot of people, but I knew it wouldn't stop you. I did it for you because I thought you would want me to. I will live every day thinking how you would live. You inspired me and will continue to inspire me for the rest of my life to live every day to the fullest. That is to say, find beauty in something to enjoy every day. Get outside. Be there for people in sad times and in joys and little victories. Do the adventure. Love your family first and enjoy every moment together with family. Be a good friend. Bring people together in love. Notice the beauty all around. We're going to get you a bench and hope to put it by your favorite tree in the meadow, the big oak tree. We can visit you. I always love that view across the meadow. Remember when we walked the meadow after your surgery? We went on an outing. I have a photo of you I love where you're laughing at the foot of the meadow. Your tree is in the background. I love you, Mom.
All right. I'm going to share some memories of my mom. My mom, she lived a beautiful life. She really did. And I was extremely lucky to be her son. She brought me into this world, but more importantly, and I've been thinking about this a lot, she taught me how to live in this world. So I'm going to share with you some of the things I've learned from her, and as she would appreciate, a few funny stories to go along with them. My mom, as you've heard, and I'm sure you know, she taught me about adventure. She was an adventurer. Whoa, like when we were young, the epic trips she brought us on, this one that I think about a lot now that I'm a parent was when I was 8 and I think Lisa was 5 and Chrissy was 2, but she put us all in a station wagon and drove us from here to California, which, you know, there's no iPads, there's no podcasts. Yeah, how did she keep us behaved? She had this genius idea to give us a toy if we were well behaved by noon, which worked, sort of. But No, we got all the way there, and we got to see some beautiful landscapes along the way, Grand Tetons and Yellowstone. And I always remembered, like as a kid, thinking like, why don't we just go to Disneyland, or like, why don't we do like a resort vacation like some other kids do? But later, and especially now, I just so appreciate her creativity and her willingness to try something different and something that was an adventure, and I like to do that too. And as you know, she loved to travel abroad. Even though I didn't always get to go with her, I only got to go once. I did get to receive some of her correspondence, which was always super entertaining because my mom is so fun, and she makes fun observations about where she is. And I actually wanted to read you guys one of her emails from her, the first time she went to Korea. It was already referenced. So this is from 2011. The subject is Korea. And here's the email. Just thought I would let you know I am here. The flight from Detroit was very long, 14 hours. I thought I might go crazy being on a plane for so long. I watched Bridesmaids. It was very funny. I also watched the movie about the guy who was hiking in Utah and had to cut his arm off. I fast forwarded through the arm cutting off part. They fed us 3 meals on the plane. Woon met me at the airport. He was very nice. We ate at a restaurant above his office last night. You can make soup at your table. There's a stovetop on the table that heats up the liquid, and then you throw in the veggies and the meat that you want in your soup. The hotel room is nice, but confusing. Everything is in Korean. There are lots of buttons. I just keep pushing them, and eventually a light comes on. I cannot figure how to turn off the air conditioner. It's a little bit cold in the room. The shower is kind of confusing too, but I managed to wash my hair. There are 2 widescreen TVs, but no English channels, not even CNN. Gotta go, it's Monday morning here. It's great. Such a unique voice. Another thing my mom taught me about was nature and how to love nature. And luckily it's something I got to experience with her a lot. Usually this involved walking or hiking through nature. Raise your hand if you ever went on a hike or a walk with my mom. Yeah, a lot of people. I wanted to share a time that, since I moved out west, my mom and my dad and my wife and I go on hikes when they visit. And one time we were hiking in this beautiful canyon in Palm Springs, California. The hike was sunny and hot, and but eventually we arrived at this oasis. And my mom, being my mom, decided to take off her shoes and wade in the water. There was a little waterfall there. We were all thinking, oh, wow, this is such a relaxing, nice moment. And then suddenly my mom screamed, "Snake! Snake! There's a snake!" and came running out of the oasis. And she insisted there was this monster, the snake, that came after her. And later we talked to the ranger, and he said, oh, it was just a small, brown, non-poisonous snake. So, but we enjoyed the thrill and the laugh it gave us, and it proved that my mom she would just dive right in, literally, into nature. Another thing my mom taught me about was she taught me how to cook. And she taught me about nourishment with food. I remember her delicious apple pies and her lasagna, which Lisa talked about, and we all got to enjoy one last time this week. She was a very good gardener, and she grew her own vegetables, squash, zucchini. I remember her tomatoes. I remember picking them one summer, and there was just a huge pile of them on the counter. And I remember especially, I got to have an epic tomato battle with the tomatoes that didn't make the cut on the counter. And ultimately, it's just that I love cooking now. I love cooking for my family, and I got that from my mom. Another thing my mom taught me about is strength and determination. She was kind and gentle, but she was the strongest person I know. Nothing was going to stop her, not even when she got cancer 2 years ago. I remember calling her on one of the days that she was getting a chemotherapy infusion, drug infusion, and I expected her to pick up and say, yeah, I'm really tired, or yeah, it's tough, but I'm okay. But instead, she just said over the phone, no, I'm fine, I just went skiing. I'm like, who does that after chemotherapy? My mom did. Finally, the last thing I want to share is just my mom taught me how to love and devote myself to my family. some of you might know I was an actor for many years. My mom came to all my performances. I mean, the first ones over there at Cathedral, she was there. My weird experimental plays in LA, she came out to see them, no matter how bad they were. Trust me, there were some bad ones. It was not only that, when I became a theater teacher, which I am now, she came out to see my shows that my kids did. I mean, my mom was still there, you know, coming out and seeing the musical I did 2 years ago. And, you know, she really showed me how to dedicate myself as a parent, now that I'm a parent. I have a 5-year-old daughter named Dahlia who, she absolutely loved my mom. And even when COVID hit, which was so tough if you're a parent, it was just impossible without school, but my mom helped us by keeping her engaged on FaceTime and over Zoom. She would sometimes 2 or 3 hours be talking to my 4-year-old on the computer, just coming up with dolls, playing characters with dolls, reading her books, and playing hide and seek somehow, although I was the one who had to run with the computer. It still worked. She also, she went old school, and she would send my daughter these postcards like once a week during COVID, just to stay connected to her. I'll read you one. This is, I don't know if you know Peter Rabbit. I think this is a tale of Nut Brown Squirrel. Anyway, an owl and some squirrels. And she says, "Hey, hi Dahlia. Owls like to eat mice. Yuck. They hunt for mice at night. They can hear the mice crawling on the ground. Can you hoot like an owl? Hoo hoo. Love, Grandma Lori." I cherish these. She sent her these every week, and my daughter loved getting mail, and it just taught her about correspondence and staying connected. Losing my mom is devastating, and these past few days I've been just overwhelmed by grief and sadness. And I keep asking myself, how will I get through this? And this is all I can think about how to do it, by taking on her spirit that lives in me and lives in all of us that knew her, if we just give it a chance to grow, like my mom did, every day of her life, every minute. I love you, Mom. Thank you for my life. I will do my best to emulate you, maybe even try to visit all the national parks and cook good food and be strong even when life is hard, and to love my family, always and forever. So, open mic time. If you got a Lori story, come on up.
Hi, my name is Mary Cheryl Opatz, and I've known the Kundrat family for over 30 years, since my family moved to their neighborhood. We were welcomed to our new West Side neighborhood with a visit from Lisa and Christy and a great box of Andes mints. This was the start of a backdoor friendship that spanned many years and included yard games, home movies, directed by Bob, of course, SPPM school activities, birthday parties, babysitting by Lisa and Bob, and our youngest children, Christy and Francis, being attached at the hip and getting into all sorts of fun and mischief over the years. Once the Kundrat family moved out to Mueller Gardens, we didn't see each other as often, but Lori and I did still get together on occasion for a bike ride, a ski, or a walk. In the past several years with her retirement, we have made time for more frequent outings. I found 40 entries in my gratitude journal last year that included time with Lori. She was my go-to friend. When I was looking to have some fun and laughter, enjoying the great outdoors, and often at a moment's notice. Last Sunday, the day before she died, she agreed to meet me at Quarry Park to do a no hills skiing as I was recovering from a back injury. I discussed our plans for Tuesday, our first ski patrol date, and the rescheduled Moonlight Ski that we hope to have Frank join us for in the end of the month. Our goodbye was, see you Tuesday. Lori, you took a direct flight to heaven on Monday, so our Tuesday date never happened. However, I am confident that our ski dates are not over, nor our biking and walking. You will accompany me, I am certain of it, as I am certain that there is a God in heaven right now along your side. Love you, MC.
You know, one story I forgot to share with you, which just happened this week after Lori had passed. Well, sorry about that. I'll just hold this. The day Lori passed away, I was obviously distraught, and that evening I just said, God, could you send me a sign that Lori is okay? And that night, all of a sudden I woke up abruptly about 3:30 in the morning, looked out my back window, and there was a female deer grazing in our backyard. How many deer come to St. Cloud backyards? And the doe was feeding not on our bird feeders, but she was feeding on Lori's, the remnants of her summer planting in her planters in her garden. And the doe was chewing on those and would look up at me, chew some more and look up at me. Now, believe what you want, but I have a lot of comfort that that was a major sign that Lori is with God and that she's with us as well.
I'm not sure I'm going to be able to do what I want to do here, but I just felt like I had to get up and say something. I met Frank some 15 years ago, I believe it is. And I don't know how many years ago it was, but we were invited over, my wife and I were invited over to Frank and Lori's. I believe it was somebody's birthday, I'm not sure. And my first impression of Lori was that she was afraid of her own shadow. She appeared to me to be very timid, very meek, kind of a person. And it was shortly after that, I think Frank and I had lunch or something, and I said, well, how's Lori doing? And he said, well, I talked to her today, and I said, well, that's nice. I hope you talk to her every day. And he said, well, she's in China. And I thought, my God, that woman can't be in China. how did she get there? And how is she surviving? And as years went on, I got to know her better. When I read her, the obituary in the paper the other day, I never, ever in my life read anything like that was so well written, and the description and the words that were used to explain who that lady was and is were just unbelievable. I mean, she was one fantastic lady, and I will miss her too.
I'm his wife, Jillian. I didn't know Lori as well as I know Frank through our connection. And Lori and Frank invited us to a few birthday celebrations, anniversaries, I can't quite remember what. And at first I thought, oh, I'm not going to know anybody there. And I got leery about it. And I thought, no, come on now. Be open. And when we got there, Lori, I had seen her from afar, but she is one unique, dynamic lady. She made me feel so welcomed. And I thought, man, this lady's dancing to her own drummer. I felt the same way about her when I first met her. Almost childlike, and she was so youthful looking. And then when I heard this track record of where she's traveling and what she's doing, I'm thinking, wow. One of the things on the first time that we said yes to Frank and Lori inviting us was we played the old card. We were the oldest people there. Okay, so we go in the living room and I sit down, kind of backing away from the crowd. I don't know any of these people. And your kids, you got the greatest kids in the world. You do. Those kids pick up that, obviously, I was so in touch with that right away. They made David and I feel warmed and welcomed, and they spent time with us. And I so appreciated that. You probably don't even remember us. But I said for a long time, and I said to Frank, you and Lori did right by these kids. I said, they made us feel so welcomed. And so to be proud of those kids. I know you're not kids anymore, but in my world, you are. So I just want you to know, Frank, that Dave and I love you, and we're here for you. And it was just as shocking for David and I, too. It was. But we got your back, and we're here for you. Thanks for listening, guys.
Hello. I'm Renee Alcorn, and I worked with Lori for a long time. And I would consider her a mentor. And she taught me a lot. And one of the many things she taught me was that even though our husbands can be real pains, yep. we still love them, and they're our best friends, and we play with them. And she would always share stories of the tennis that you guys played together and all the things you did together and enjoyed life. And that influenced me, so I would do the same with my husband, right? And the other thing is to believe in the people that you love. And you guys were young adults when I spent a lot of time with her, learning how to live life, moving to California with no money. She was worried sick. You two were living in a camper in Portland or something and cut your hand and couldn't pay the emergency bills. But she was so proud of you guys, and she believed in you, and she loved you, and she knew you would do great things. So it was fun and enlightening, and I still enjoy those times, and she was just so proud of you guys. The other thing she taught me that I'm going to brag. I'm one of the people who pissed her off. Yeah. I would travel with her a lot, and we went to New Orleans, and there was a micro marathon, a 5K, and I challenged her to run, and she hurt her foot, and she was like blamed me for that. So she's like, I'm not running anymore. We're only walking or biking. So she's challenged me to do the Century bike ride, the 100 miles. Haven't done it yet, so maybe this summer she's around to challenge me to get it done this summer, right? So if anybody wants to go for a bike ride, I need some encouragement. Yeah, I didn't really bike much until I met her, and the first bike ride I went on with her was the Tour of Saints. And I had my Kmart bike, mountain bike with wide tires. She has her little road bike, and we're going up this hill after Cold Spring, and I really thought I was going to roll backwards. But she had to cheer me on, and she did it, and we made it over, and I bought a new bike after that, and we started biking more together. So Lori, yeah, she's going to live on through you, through all of us who knew her and loved her, the things we learned from her, how to smile and laugh even through hard times. And I just want to thank you and encourage you.
Thank you.
It's a little easier the second time. I have an email or a text from one of Lori's friends, Elaine Crabb. First, I was going to say, I remember picking up Renee and my mom from the airport after they got back from Amsterdam, I think, and they were lost. And where did Renee even go? Yeah, and I just remember them telling me all their it was just so fun. I went to pick them up, and then the whole way back they were telling me about how they got lost and were in these mazes, and they just like said it with such joy. But they're like, we didn't have any food and we were getting so hungry, but it was still like really fun. And I think they found pancakes at the end. Yep. So Elaine Crabb was a friend from when they lived in Shaker Heights still, and they all had this neighborhood group together. And they stayed in touch. That's something with my mom too. I mean, all of you that are here, she's just kept friends for so many years, you know. And so she stayed friends with Sean and Elaine, even though they all moved away. And they used to meet in Minnesota every year and go biking and things. And so, and then John passed away from cancer earlier this year. And so they were kind of going through that at the same time. And Elaine wanted me to share this. John and I have known Frank and Lori since the 70s and 80s, the glory days of Lansmere Road in Cleveland. Our young children played together on our front lawns. Little did we know that those years would indeed be remembered with such a sense of gratitude. Over the years, we have stayed in touch, both sharing a love of Minnesota. Biking together each summer was a highlight, and soon we included our husbands. We never missed a summer. John and Lori both had a path of cancer and chemo. I always remember when Lori came to visit us at our house in Phoenix before chemo started for her. John shared his experience with chemo so far. We all sat there for a few moments, gathering strength together. It uplifted us. Just those moments together. Such love. That was Lori's way. Gentle and kind and strong. Knowing that Lori is no longer here as we know her brings me deep sadness, but I truly believe her spirit and love are shining brightly. Love always prevails, and Lori is that love.
This is from my wife, Sahar, who's watching in California. Lori was the kind of mother I wish I could be. Her children absolutely adored her. She was always positive and supportive. She was adventurous and fearless. She was not only a mom, but a friend and an inspiration. She was also a wonderful writer and storyteller, and I admired the postcards she regularly wrote for my daughter, Dahlia. Lori always had creative ideas to keep her engaged from afar on FaceTime, sometimes for hours, no small feat. Dahlia looked forward to the variety of books Lori would lovingly select for her each time they spoke, and she would eagerly pick the ones she wanted Lori to read. Just yesterday, Dahlia was playfully assigning the names of royalty to all her family members, determining who would be the king or queen of what. Grandma Lori was named the Book Queen. Lori gave me Bob, who is the best person I know. We will miss her more than can be expressed in words, but she will live forever in our hearts.
Hi. I didn't expect to stand up here. My name's Deb Klein, and I am really cryy right now, so it might take me a second. There's two things that feel really poignant to me right now. One is just like the depth and breadth of like this beautiful place where we got to grow up, right? I went to school with Bob, and went on a very long canoe trip with Lisa. She saved us from really crashing into a lot of rocks in the middle of the night one evening.
I think I got us in that situation.
I feel like Lisa was like my co-guide when she was supposed to be the child. That's part of what I want to say. First, what I want to say is just like being here and seeing you all, it brings the poignancy of the connectedness of this community that we got to grow up in, right? It's really, most of us are far away now, and that's great, and like we get to have these beautiful, like adventurous lives, right? But there's really so much richness here, and so I just am feeling a lot of appreciation for that. And the other thing that feels so clear to me as everyone is speaking in this, I didn't know your mom super well, like she was around and she was sweet and easy to like, right? But this sense of adventure, it feels so reflected to me in both of you, especially Bob, in the way where like So growing up together, Bob and I would like do a lot of dumb stuff as kids together, right? And you were always like up for it. Like the stupidest ideas, right? Like, let's just do like ridiculous stuff. And you were always so ready, right? And I think that's like a good vibe that we had. Like, yeah, let's do crazy stuff. It's fun, right? And that feels like part of that, like, yes, let's do it. That we're like conjuring here, right? About your mom. And Lisa, it just like feels so, it just feels so real, like the bravery, like the courageousness, and like the quiet, the quiet bravery. It feels like that's the adventure part for you. Being able to see you do that as like a young person on trail and just be able to say like, yeah, let's just like crash through and then, I'll just keep doing this for the rest of my life. So both of you, I feel like really, and I know that you do too, Christy. I just didn't get to see it in the same way, right? But it will really live on, right? It's really here. She's really here and in you. So, thanks.
Thanks, Deb.
Yeah.
I remember Lori as a little girl coming to our house on several times when I'm about 10 years older, so 9 years older, so I was old enough to see what a cute little girl she was. And she was cute, she was shy. And I didn't see her for a number of years. We all lived in different places and had our own families. And then I came to meet her again in the last 10, 15 years. And I saw not only was she still that beautiful little girl and some shyness, but she had the most wonderful laugh. I could never decide if it was a giggle or a laugh. It seemed to go back and forth. And I thought every time she came to a gathering, she brought so much life. And that giggle and that smile is what I think about her now. Now how beautiful when she was little and how beautiful she stayed all her life.
Well, I just wanted to thank everyone that was brave enough to stand up here today and share a little bit about Lori and your connection with her. And as we continue the night, we'll continue to share memories with each other. At this time, this is the conclusion of our time of sharing, but the family wishes to invite you to a meal as well. Thank you.
Thank you. Very nice.